What kills over 200 people per year in the UK? Affects 44% of British adults and is growing by roughly 2 million people per year. Food allergies. 1 in 40 of us now have a food allergy in the UK. More young people are being born with food allergies than ever before. We are becoming an allergic generation. There are 14 major allergies that must be featured on any food labelling if they're present. And for me, I have to keep an eye out for these. I have a serious allergy to nuts. I wanted to speak with other young people affected by allergies, but no one who I asked for an interview wanted to appear publicly talking about their allergies. Some even said they'd been bullied in the past for it. So I did the next best thing. I talked to a college nurse. So I've heard of the theory where they think that children aren't being exposed to as many allergens when they're young, and thinking that maybe that's why they develop an allergy. But in my case, of course, I didn't have any sort of allergy to nuts. I was exposed to nuts at an early age, and then all of a sudden I ate some satay chicken and I realised I had a nut allergy. But is there any evidence as to why that's happening?
They still don't really know. They're not clear why that happens. No correlation to why suddenly you can be allergic to something. Again, they just think it's the diet and maybe people's immune systems. It's just not, it changes as they grow up, and they just suddenly become, their body decides they don't like it anymore.
There was the tragic case of Natasha Ednan Lapros, who ate a sandwich in an airport. Although she was highly aware of her allergy to sesame, there was no labelling on the food or at the till to warn her that the flour contained sesame. She died because of this hidden ingredient.
Obviously because of unfortunately what happened in the news with that young 15-year-old that died of having an allergic reaction. It's huge now that everything has to be clear on the packaging of food, and making sure, basically, if you know you've got an allergen, not to be embarrassed about it, and make sure you speak to the cafe or restaurant. They should know the information, and to be vigilant. And I think it's definitely something for the future. I could see us having EpiPens in all restaurants and cafes, because like the defib, it's a life-saving equipment. So if you have a reaction, that they can be able to treat you. 50 years ago, they were saying food allergies were very rare, and there's been a huge increase now. 3 million children under 18 have a food or digestive allergy. Nearly 4,500 people were admitted to A&E with anaphylactic shock, and it's climbing each year. So, that's quite a huge jump. And I certainly noticed it working at the college, how many students have allergies, and even being a kid myself, I don't remember many people having allergies, but nowadays it's a lot more. Yeah,
so it's definitely, you've seen some sort of rise in the amount of kids that are coming here that have an allergy.
Yes, definitely. And there's 14 in the college that have EpiPens, so and that's the ones I know about, so there may be even more, so yeah.
When you end up having to pay such careful attention to the ingredients of food in your own home, it's no wonder lots of young people with allergies report being nervous when they eat out at restaurants or cafes. In a survey carried out by the Food Standards Agency, 60% of 16 to 24-year-olds with a food allergy say they completely avoid eating out at restaurants and cafes. I travelled to Farnham Market to visit some street food sellers. For someone like myself with allergies, this would usually be somewhere to avoid at all costs. I wanted to ask the food sellers how they were dealing with allergies. Is everything labelled here, or for someone with an allergy, do you think they'd be able to navigate?
Certainly on all of our sources, any allergens are highlighted in bold, and we don't, these are chili peanuts, we don't have these for tasting for that very reason.
Right,
because people may or may not know they have an allergy to them, or often parents will turn their back and kids might come up and taste them, so we don't have it tasting. And of course, we always advise here, if anyone has an allergy or is not sure, please ask.
it's always good to state that cross-contamination is possible everywhere.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to say we are nut free, because I might use a little nut on the other side of the kitchen and might contaminate something on the other side.
Yeah.
So from my side, I'm always careful with my customer. When there is an allergy, I always say there is a risk of cross-contamination.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's also, I think, from the customer point of view. I mean, if you have a strong allergy, it's fair that you let the restaurant know,
Yeah.
or the waiter or whoever is serving you, so that they will take the extra care. Because the thing is, the confusion is what makes the mistake, you know. Because many people, they say, oh, we are allergic to gluten, but they're actually not, because then you see them eating bread, you know. So people get a bit confused. Okay, it might be okay. But if you got a strong allergy, I think that's the only way is just to communicate with the restaurants and just let them know.
Yeah. It was encouraging speaking to the street traders, who were all very approachable and, importantly, very knowledgeable on the subject of allergies. But there's still a problem with young people not feeling comfortable asking staff about their allergies. Companies like Eridus are creating standardised symbols for producers to easily show allergens in their food, to create a clear and easy system to help people with allergies feel safe. And yet, 50% of young people still say that they don't trust food businesses to correctly label all of the ingredients in their food.
Now, these days, what the producer do is to state that the cross-contamination is a possibility.
Yeah.
In that way, they're basically covered from anything, you know. So it's like if you are taking the risk of eating that.
Yeah, it's down to the person actually.
Yes, it's down to the person. So if I personally don't have allergies, but if I would be super careful of the suppliers where I buy the food, and I wouldn't trust all the businesses, because unfortunately I know, because I've been in this industry for quite a while, and I know the food management is not great everywhere. Obviously, there is a system in place in this country, but you get checked up every 2 or 3 years. That means lots of things can change in the meantime, you know?
That's a long time.
So it is a long time.
Yeah. It's a common perception by the older generations that my generation has grown up overprotected, which has caused all of these allergies.
It's interesting. I often wonder whether children these days have such a protected childhood and don't sit in the garden as I did when I was a kid and have a mouthful of dirt or something.
The scary reality is that we don't know exactly what's caused this rise in allergies. And if we've really lost touch with our food so much that even the actual food producers can't or don't want to list exactly what's in our food, how can anyone with an allergy feel safe? Allergies are on the rise, and my allergic generation could be just the beginning.